All right, guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Revalue podcast. Here we talk about everything reselling, e-commerce, and just business mindset in general. My name is Jake. I'm known on YouTube and social media as JRideFlips. And today I wanted to talk about what actually is wealth. How can we be wealthy? And how is wealth accumulated and created? I think most people's traditional definition of wealth is financial success, having a big bankroll, having a good investment portfolio, having money coming in. But I believe wealth is so much more than that. I believe that wealth comes down to 5 key principles. Those principles being health, relationships, finance, faith, and passions. All 5 of these need to be in order to have wealth. It's not just making a ton of money, but it's also having financial stability as well as being healthy, waking up with energy each morning, having awesome relationships with your spouse, with your family, having passions, whether it be hobbies or things that teach you, things that help you grow, and it's faith. And now that last one, faith, it doesn't have to be necessarily toward God, though I recommend that. But we have to do some sort of spiritual practices to be wealthy and to be successful, be it meditation, journaling, words of affirmation. I'm going to hop into all of these individually because I actually believe that there are 3 pillars under each of these principles that prop us up to wealth. And I just wanted to dive right into those with you guys today. All right, so I want to talk about these 5 principles individually and their 3 main sub-pillars. I believe there's about 3 for each of these principles. And then, of course, underneath all of those sub-pillars, there are many different factors. And that's kind of the cool thing about wealth is in order to be wealthy, you got to be growing, you got to be progressing, you got to be doing better. You got to leave behind the bad things, replace them with new good things, and continue on an upward trajectory. And also being patient and understanding that you're not going to have a great day every day. You're not even going to have a great month every month. Sometimes you have some down years. But I like to think of life kind of as like a stock. As long as it's always pointing up, you're good to go. Sometimes you're going to dip. Sometimes you're going to crash. But stocks that go up are backed by companies that have firm fundamentals that are always growing and making changes for the better. And as long as that company is doing its best every day, the stock is just going to keep going up. If we keep implementing these principles, we're just going to become more and more wealthy. We're going to have a great balance in life, and we're truly going to enjoy what life has to offer. So, the first principle in building wealth and being wealthy rhymes. It's health. And health can be broken down, into my opinion, into 3 major pillars. If you want to be a healthy person, focus on these 3 pillars. The first one being exercise, the second one being nutrition, and the third one being sleep. If you want to improve your health, focusing on these 3 huge factors will help you quicker than any other supplement or magic pill or things like that. So exercise, there's a ton of different forms of exercise that we can be doing. There's resistance training, lifting weights, there's cardio, there's doing sports, activities, all those things. But it's really important that we actually get exercise in. So that way we can actually build a healthy body that wakes up with energy every morning. So we can get our tasks done for the day. So that we can enjoy all the things that life has to offer. This is actually a principle that I've been lacking in lately. I used to actually be really committed to going to the gym every single morning, about 6 days a week. Nutrition was dialed in, things like that. But life just became super busy around the time when I was engaged in getting married. I actually, I'm nursing a hernia right now. I have a surgery scheduled to get that taken care of soon, but until then I can't do any lifting. I'm really excited to get back into that aspect of my life. I have goals to just be a very, very strong and healthy individual, so I'm excited to hop back into that. The next one is nutrition. There's a ton of things that can go on with nutrition. And unfortunately, the fitness industry has kind of clouded that area to where they talk about things like, oh, collagen protein is superior and you need to be doing these protein synthesis cycles and take casein at night because it breaks down slower, and oh, all these xenoestrogens are causing you to have inflammation in this gut microbiome, and because you guys are eating this, it's keeping you up at night, thus causing your circadian rhythm. If you replace this, and yeah. It gets really confusing sometimes, but nutrition basically can be broken down into what are called macros, micros. We need to, do some research on different styles of eating, but basically we need to eat our macros, which are our fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. We need to make sure that those are all balanced. And then we also need to be getting our micros, which are our vitamins and minerals. There's thermodynamics. We need to be eating about the same or less calories than we burn each day in order to maintain physical health. And the last one, very overlooked, but very, very important, is sleep. It's very important that we have a good sleeping pattern and schedule. I recommend, as Andrew Huberman does, to really focus on your circadian rhythm, which is our natural body signals to release hormones to wake us up and to get us back to sleep when needed, usually in correlation with the rise of the sun and the setting of the sun. It's important that we understand that. Andrew Huberman is an awesome resource that I recommend when it comes to learning how to optimize sleep. Because I'm just a 27-year-old guy. I'm still young. I still have energy and things of that nature, but it's already starting to get harder and harder to wake up with energy every day. I'm just imagining what it's going to be like once I introduce children into the world. Once I have, life can get very stressful. So it's really important to unlock that circadian rhythm, which is done through nightly and morning routines, which is done through really focusing on our sleep, trying to get positive, deep sleep every single night for as long as we can, and then waking up in the morning, getting right back to work. So if we want to be wealthy, we have to be healthy. There's a lot of, I have a lot of friends and colleagues and there's a lot of examples that we can see, especially in the ultra rich, where a lot of them say health is wealth because, they've focused all this time on building a company or making all this money that they let their health sit on the sidelines. And then once they've made it to their financial goals, they look back and they're like, I wish I would have taken care of myself. I wish I would have taken care of my relationships. I wish I would have had more balance in my life because now I'm just rich and alone. So it's important that we focus on our health and also what I'm about to dive into, that is our relationships. The next principle, as I spoke of having and creating true wealth, is focusing on our relationships. I've heard studies that say that having a terrible relationship with a spouse will take more years off of your life than smoking a few packs of cigarettes a week. That's just mind-boggling in my opinion. And it just shows the importance of our relationships. We are social creatures. It's very important that we develop relationships with those around us and that we have positive relationships that we get a lot of benefits from and that we are also giving benefits to others. So when it comes to relationships, I believe there are, again, 3 pillars that we need to focus on in order to have healthy relationships that will increase our wealth. The first is our relationship with our spouse or partner. I believe that there is a lot of benefits in finding that one person that you choose to do life with, and you just gotta improve that relationship every single year, every single day. A lot of very wealthy people say that the most important decision you'll ever make financially is the person that you marry or the person that you live with, the person that you spend the most time with. Because you guys have to be on the same page of how to make the money, how to budget the money, and how to keep that money growing. And if you guys are in constant conflict, there's going to be a lot of issues. So the best way to really improve your wealth through relationships is having that one person that you're in love with, that you completely trust, that you can lean on, that you can rely on, that's going to support you, and that's going to do everything they can to help you and to help themselves and their family. There's a lot of different things that fall under the umbrella of having a healthy relationship with your spouse. Romantic, you got to be a partnership, you got to communicate, you got to do all these things to improve that relationship so you can increase your wealth over time. Another pillar of relationships is your relationship with your family members. These are your children, your parents, your siblings, your extended family. It's very important to have these relationships set in place so that way you can improve and increase your wealth. There's a ton of ways to take care of your family relationships, just making phone calls, making it to family reunions, inviting people to do things. Hey, my son has a baseball game, why don't you come watch, Grandma and Grandpa? Hey, we're going out to dinner, why don't you guys come with? Hey, we're in the area where my siblings live, let's go pay them a visit. It's really important to have this inner circle connected with your family, because when the going gets tough, it's really your family that's going to stick by you. And if you don't have a great relationship with your family, it really just leaks into your life. It really holds you back from achieving that wealthy, healthy lifestyle that we're all coveting so much. Because when you're constantly worried about what your parents think, or if you're constantly fighting with your children, or if you no longer have a speaking relationship with some of your siblings, it's like I said, we're social creatures. We need that nourishment from others, and we need our families. The third pillar is friends and colleagues, associates. It's important to have people outside of that family network that you can conversate with, that you can have good relationships with. It really edifies just our foundation of who we are as social creatures. I have a few good friends that are huge blessings in my life, because I'm able to have conversations with my best friend that I don't typically have with my work, with people at work, or with my parents, or even with my spouse. It's just a different kind of relationship, and it's usually a relationship that allows you to just relax and let your guard down, kind of let the stresses of the world ease away, because you're just with your buddies, you know. Also, with that, colleagues and associates, if you have a 9-to-5 where you have coworkers, you have people that you're in constant communication with, it's important to have good relationships with these people. I know so many people that struggle with just all this stress and all these terrible things that come from having coworkers that they hate, or having people that they just can't stand, that they have to rub shoulders with almost every single day of their life. It's important that we develop these relationships with our coworkers and with our colleagues that we see very often, because if you wake up every morning thinking, oh, I got to go deal with John or with Jennifer or whoever it may be, it's not a wealthy lifestyle that you're going to live. And of course, there's going to be hard people to deal with throughout our lives, unavoidable. But what I'm trying to communicate is that we as individuals can still respect these people and can still not let those negative attitudes or those people drag our life down and cause us to have more pain and more stress in our lives because of the relationship that we choose to have with them. It may not always be reciprocated, but there's a lot of benefit in just understanding that, hey, I can control me, I can't control them. I'm going to choose to have a positive outlook and have the best relationship that I can with them. I'm not going to let it affect my life, because I'm in control of my life. I'm in control of my relationships. And even though I have to be with these colleagues, I can choose how I act and how I respond to them in any given situation. But yeah, when it comes to relationships, this is a very huge aspect of life that's overlooked, especially as adults. That's one of the principles that I've learned the most growing up, is as an adult, you truly choose who your friends are. You truly choose the relationship you want to have with your parents, with your siblings, and you ultimately get to choose the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. And relationships aren't just, relationships take work, is what I'm trying to say. Put in the work to have amazing relationships, and you will have stronger mental health. You'll make more money because of that, and you're just gonna lead a better life because of your relationships with the people around you. All right, guys, now it's time to talk about what everyone actually associates wealth with, and that is finance. This is a very important aspect of wealth and of just leading your best life. Personal finance, family finance, familiar finance. It's a very important subject. It's something that we're not taught a lot about in school, unfortunately. It's something that if you can understand and pass down to your kids and their kids, you can create generational wealth. We hear that phrase all the time. A lot of people think it's reserved for the elites, but really, everyone can have generational wealth by just taking a few steps when it comes to finance. It's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I could see me talking about more and more in the future if my YouTube channel were to grow. But yeah, again, 3 pillars. When it comes to finance, you need to focus on your career, your investments, and your budgeting skills. So career, first thing is, the average person needs a job. Typically we have 9 to 5s. Everyone's a little different, but it's important to secure a job that pays for your lifestyle. And then on top of that, part of our career can also be side hustles. It can also be passive income, things that generate more money so that way we can have more wealth. But we really need to focus on, there's this principle called the 80-20 principle, where 80% of, there's 20% of what you do every day that makes you 80% of your income. And so we should focus on that 20% of stuff that makes us the majority of our income. But a lot of times there's a lot of smaller, different stuff that we tend to get distracted on and focused on that only makes 20% of our income, but we end up focusing 80% of our time on it, when really we should be focusing on that 20% that brings the majority of our income in, which typically is our job. It's important that we really focus on, how can I be better at my job? How can I be the best employee or manager or business owner that I can be? How can I improve my skills in the workforce to continue to get raises, promotions, or if you're a business owner, to get more clientele, to make more money, and to have more wealth? It's important that we're constantly getting better at our job and at our career, so that way we can have the financial security that leads to being wealthy. Another thing that we can focus on within our careers is side hustles. eBay, for example, for the majority of the people listening, is not their full-time occupation. It's a side hustle, or it's something that can make a substantial amount of money to pay for vacations, to pay for bills, for things of that nature. And so that's another way that we can build our careers and build our financial wealth, is through these side hustles, through eBay, through affiliate marketing, through mowing lawns. There's a ton of different ways that we can accumulate this wealth. Another way are investments. One of my favorite books that changed my life is The Richest Man in Babylon. It talks about a lot of really good principles in that, but the major principle that it talks about is saving and investing 10% of your income and having that money that you invested work for you. So investments is a quick path to financial freedom and ultimate wealth. There's a ton of different investments out there, whether it's a stock and bonds portfolio, real estate, investing in startup companies, investing in yourself so that way you can make more money at your job or your side hustles. Investments are a really important factor when it comes to wealth. It's a step that I believe the majority of people want to get to, but the majority of people never do, because we kind of get stuck in the rat race of paying our bills, making more money, increasing our bills, and just following that cycle of never making enough money to actually invest and to make that income that our money does all on its own. And that leads into the third pillar of finance, which is our budgets. Now, a lot of people hear the word budget and they just think, oh, okay, this is just a spreadsheet of what I can and can't spend money on. But it's so much more than that. Our budget truly is our lifestyle. We should look at our budget as how we make our money, how we spend our money, and how we keep our money, or how we give it away. You don't have to be the strictest person when it comes to a budget. You don't have to have it all written out, but it's important to just think about lifestyle. Like, how much money do you make and how much money do you spend? When we have that investment mindset of, I'm going to keep at least 10% of my income and put that aside, we're already on a good path. But then we also have to think, well, if I make $2,000, why do I have to spend $2,000? Where can I find places to save money? Do I absolutely need Starbucks every morning? Do I need avocado toast? I know that that's kind of the go-to example, but it really is mind-boggling if you just could stop spending that money every morning on that breakfast or that drink, or if you packed a lunch instead of making a lunch. Me personally, every morning I spend about $6 on drinks and things of that nature. I drink energy drinks to get me going in the morning. $6 times a whole year. We're looking at over $2,000 invested correctly at 8% returns over 30 years. We're probably looking at about $800,000 to $1.5 million just by making that simple sacrifice. But a lot of people, when it comes to their budgets, they don't actually think, can I afford this? They don't actually think, should I even buy this? Is this a want? Is this a need? And I'm not saying that we need to only buy needs. I think it's very healthy that we buy wants, which I'm going to get to later on in the podcast, that we do activities that we enjoy, that brings us happiness and brings us relaxation and things of that nature. But the average person spends more money than they make. And when they get more money, when they get a raise or a promotion, they increase their lifestyle and they never truly save money. They never invest money. They never build wealth financially because they're spending more money than they can make. So look at your own life. Think to yourself, do I need the newest iPhone? When was the last time I watched HBO Max? Do I need a Gucci belt, or is a Van Heusen belt okay? Do I need the $780 car payment? Or can I just drive a $5,000 car for the next few years and not have a car payment? Do I need to go to the movies every weekend or a few times a week? Or can I just stay in and do some things with my family? Do I need the season snowboarding pass that's $900 for 4 months? Or when I only go 3 times? Or should I just get the night ski pass? Do I need to buy the $2,500 set of golf clubs? Or can I just get a start? There's just so many ways that we spend our money when we don't need to. It comes down to saving money. And then on the other side of that coin, sometimes spending more money is beneficial. Eating healthy is more expensive than the typical American diet. But spending an extra $200 a month on groceries, it's going to give us more energy. It's going to make us feel better. We're going to have better digestion. We're going to have more energy every time we wake up. We're going to have more energy later on in the day. We're just going to feel better. Budgeting that $200 for extra strawberries and turkey bacon and all that good stuff, it's actually going to improve our lives. Spending the money to buy courses that improve our businesses, spending the money on books that are gonna increase our mindset, things of that nature. Sometimes saving money improves our lives, and sometimes spending that money improves our lives. And it's important for us to learn and distinguish that difference. All right, now we're hopping into the most controversial part of what I think creates a wealthy person, and that is faith. So a quick disclaimer here, you don't have to believe in God to have faith. You don't have to go to an organized church to be a spiritual person. But it is important for us to have faith-based and spiritual practices if we want to be wealthy. And I actually encourage it to be directed at our Savior, Jesus Christ. But it doesn't have to be, though I do very encourage it. So, the 3 pillars of faith are, in my opinion, to increase wealth: your relationship with deity or the universe, practices within faith and spiritual and service. Relationship with deity, it's important to understand who you are, why you're here, what's your purpose while you're here, and who is that universe or that God that created you. The best way to have a relationship is through prayer, it's through fasting, is through understanding who you truly are and having that relationship to lean on, to guide you, to help you through this world of it's a tough world to live in, and I think it's getting a little worse slowly by slowly. It's a little harder to raise a family. It's a little harder to feel safe. It's a little harder to feel comforted. But if we have that relationship with God, if we have that understanding that we can do anything because of that relationship, we're gonna be extremely wealthy, because we have that confidence that He's always got our back, that we know who we are, and that we know what we are personally capable of. The second pillar in that is practices, through prayer, through fasting, through studying, through serving others, through going to church, paying tithe. All of these things can improve our wealth. We're not just here for ourselves. We're truly here to help other people, and that leads into the third principle, which is service. When you give more than you receive, you will soon start to receive more than you give. This is a principle that I apply just in my life. I'm not saying that I'm the most charitable person or that I'm so amazing, but I truly understand the principle of serving others. It just makes you and them so much happier and so much better off. The whole point of this YouTube channel for me is to give extreme value. Every time I hit record, I want to give more than I receive, because I do receive. Channel memberships pay me. I get money through ad revenue. Sponsorships are already reaching out to me to work with me. So I definitely receive. Every time I hit record, I get paid for it. But my goal is to give so much value, to serve you guys, to help you guys in business, to make more money with your job or with your side hustle. That once you truly understand that is truly where wealth is created. is understanding who you are and that relationship to that higher power, and then just serving other people. It can truly unlock so much happiness and wealth in your life, because you're not just living for you, you're living for everyone. So I really encourage people to, whether you believe in God or not, I encourage you to pray. And if you don't want to pray to a God, I encourage you to meditate, to really understand who you are and what you're doing in this world. Meditate, fast, sacrifice. When a person makes a sacrifice, that is when a person grows. When you sacrifice food for an extended period of time during a fast, you grow spiritually. You understand who you are more. You understand, I can do hard things. And you're taught that you can be taken care of and you can rely on a higher power. It's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that I'm going to introduce into my channel more. It's faith. It's an awesome principle that can truly help you guys be wealthy. It's something that we need in our lives, whether we believe in a God or not. I keep saying this, but I have a lot of people that believe that organized religion is a terrible thing, which it can be. I have a lot of people saying that believing in a God is like believing in Santa Claus and it doesn't help you whatsoever, and I truly disagree with that. If you can relinquish your power to a more powerful being or to the universe, once you realize how small you are, you realize how big you can become. And I encourage you guys to find out who you are, to develop a relationship with deity, and to serve others. It'll truly lead to wealth in your life. The fifth principle of wealth is passions. And the passions can be broken up into, again, 3 pillars, which are hobbies, creative, and relaxation. What I'm trying to get at is we need a lot of balance in our lives to be truly wealthy. It's not just having a ton of money. It's not just being healthy. It's not just having good relationships. It's a combination of all of these things together. And I think one thing that we overlook is just having a good time in life. A lot of times we think to be successful, we have to make major sacrifices, or we have to grind, or we have to put something on the shelf to put something else in focus. When really I think it's a healthy combination of all of these factors, including this one that gets shoved down, especially kind of in my generation and watching YouTube. A bunch of people like grind, sacrifice now, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. Like you should be working, side hustle. I truly believe it's very important to have hobbies. It can be golfing, it can be reading, it can be hiking, it can be knitting, it can be gardening, it can be cooking, it can be all those ings, all those verbs. But it's important to do things that you enjoy every single week and every single day. It's something that I have kind of gotten away from in the last year and a half. I decided that I wanted to marry my wife about 2 years ago. And right before we got engaged, I started working 15 hours a day. And then while we were engaged, I kept up those 15 hours. And then took a lot of time off to get married, to go on the honeymoon. And then I've come back and I've still just been grinding away. And I haven't been working out. I haven't been going golfing. I haven't been hiking as much. Vacations have become slightly stressful. But now I'm finally getting back to the point where I have this work-life balance again. And it's just so much better. So I encourage you guys to find hobbies, find things that you like that are also, that just make you happy. Another one, especially for me as an entrepreneur, I'm very logical, I love numbers. I love learning as a hobby, but I think it's also important to have creative hobbies. I'm not the most like creative musical guy, but I do sing a lot because like I don't know, but I'm always singing. Kind of has to do with my like ADHD or whatever. I do some beatboxing and things like that, but like I don't play any instruments, I don't draw, I don't paint. But I think it's very important to exercise that muscle, that part of your personality. So even if you're not creative, I think it's important for you to do those things. And then the last pillar of passions is relaxation. I used to be really against like video games, naps, things of that nature. I thought, man, I just, wasting time. But I've actually learned that I think that everyone should do anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes of what I call mind-numbing activity, where you're literally not growing or learning or doing anything. You're just relaxing. You're just chilling. Sometimes I just get obsessive and addicted to working that I have to force myself to go play 2K. It's that basketball game. I force myself to go play that for 30 minutes or an hour sometimes because I just need that release. Sometimes I'll force myself to a lot of times my wife will want to watch a movie or a show with me, and I'll just like be on my phone trying to grow my Instagram account or trying to grow my affiliate marketing with Amazon, and I just need to relax and just hang out and be present with my wife. That goes back to the relationships as well. But it's important to just do things that help you reset. Take a nap, go for a walk, play some video games, call your mom. Just do things that separate you from your work. This is more advice for me than the general person, because the general person does a little too much of this. The average person is heavily distracted and wants to take that break more than work. So don't overdo it. But it's very important to have this balance in your life as well, of going golfing or hiking, playing some video games. Have something to look forward to. I've found that when I say, hey, I need to be off at work at 5 because I want to go play 9 holes of golf, I feel better that day. Going back to the first principle, health, when I wake up and I work out, I feel better that day. When I eat right, I feel better that day. When I have these conversations with my wife or my mom or my brother-in-law or my sister, I feel better. Life truly is about balance. And I'm talking about hobbies right now, so I want to cut to this last scene and just really talk about the balance of life. But it's important to have something to look forward to. It's important to schedule vacations. It's important to play a little bit of video games if that's what you enjoy. It's important to have these things to look forward to, because true success is being able to say, hey, I'm happy because I make enough money that I can take 90 minutes off, or I can go on a 7-day vacation, or I can just take the night off and be with my wife and my kids. It's important to have that balance and to do those hobbies. So to recap here, guys, I'm just a 27-year-old kid. I feel like I've experienced a lot in life, but I still have so much to learn, so much wisdom to gain, so much experience that is still left on the table for me, and I'm excited and hungry to learn. And I appreciate you guys just taking the time to listen to the things that I have to say, because I'm very passionate about progress. Sometimes my wife says I can be a little bit annoying about personal growth and progress, which is fine. But I'm very passionate about helping people and sharing all of these thoughts that go through my head. This is what I think about in the shower. It's what I think about when I go for walks. It's what I think about before going to bed. I don't know. I'm that weird guy that like, I'm really glad that I'm finally doing this podcast, because I was that weird guy that would drive around by himself and pretend that I was being interviewed or that I had an audience listening to me, and I'd just like give random podcasts about random topics. And now I can actually do that, which is awesome. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to thank you guys for just taking the time to listen to this guy on YouTube. It's a dream come true. You guys are really helping me live out my passions, my wealth. You guys are truly awesome. So to recap, there are 5 principles of wealth, and each of those 5 principles have 3 main pillars. And of those 3 main pillars, there are dozens and hundreds of things that you can do. So for me, I like to work backwards. I want to be wealthy. How do I become wealthy? I need to focus on my health. I need to focus on my relationships. I need to focus on my finance. I need to focus on my faith. And I need to focus on my passions. How can I focus on my health? Exercise, nutrition, and sleep. How can I focus on my relationships? Focus on my spouse, my family, my friends. How can I focus on my finance? Focus on my career. Focus on my investments. Focus on my budget. How can I focus on my faith? Focus on my relationship with deity. Focus on the practices that help me maintain spirituality. And focus on serving others. And then how can I better my passions? Focus on my hobbies. Focus on that creative side. And focus on the relaxation, going on vacations, all of that stuff. I can talk for days and days and years about balance. I feel like it's kind of my calling in life to help people understand that balance is what truly brings happiness. Life is so awesome. There's so many opportunities, so much joy to be had. And it's our responsibility to find that joy and to work for it. It's not just going to come sit in our lap. We have to actively work on these 5 principles and build these pillars. But I promise you guys that true wealth is not financial. True wealth is all of these principles and more. And I'm just really grateful for you guys to be listening to me here. So next week, I want to talk about how eBay supports that financial branch, that financial principle of wealth. I'm going to talk about how eBay provides that financial stability and wealth for us in next week's podcast. Today was totally free. I'm going to send this out just on YouTube, but if you'd like to sign up to listen to that future podcast and other future podcasts, you can go ahead and sign up in the description below. You just click on the link. Any membership gets you access to the podcast, whether you want to be a supporter, a super fan, a J Ride or Die, a J Ridean. If any membership gets you access to the podcast, I'm going to continue to pump out as much free content as I can. Try to give you guys extreme value every time I hit record. Anybody that wants to listen to the podcast or that just wants to support the channel in general so I can keep pumping out this content, it's much appreciated. This is a dream come true, guys. I'm so glad that they say a solo podcast is the hardest podcast. So I thought, why not just start with the hardest? I'm going to start inviting guests. I'm going to start, maybe look for a partner to run a weekly podcast with. I don't know. I don't know where YouTube is even going to take me, but I'm just really excited for the opportunity. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.